Now, Yeforian and Nairofey. It's just a very interesting story because earlier on in the year, they shocked us by doing the most on the internet, exposing each other, telling us about who was trash, who was broke. Nairofey even saying she used to send herself gifts and then credit Yeforian, and him on the other hand taking credit for her lavish lifestyle in Kenya. He was hustling and sending money, kumbe huku money inakuwa spent. It was just a lot. Anyway, they had a very loud and bitter and public breakup of their marriage. Now, fast forward to a few weeks ago, people have been speculating that the two have gotten back together, mostly because Nairofey was in Dubai, where Yeforian resides, and she was seen driving around in the red car that apparently he gifted her. But she came out and said, listen, mwache hizo propaganda, mnaniharibia market, y'all are going to chase away my new man with all of these stories. Now, Yeforian, who goes by the name Duncan, has also come out and is now saying that there's so many theories that are being peddled of me seeing in Kenya. It is porojo. I have not been in Kenya for the longest time. He then went on to say that Nairofey and I are not enemies, and her car that apparently he gifted back to her, because during that bitter breakup and separation, he had apparently repossessed his car back. As in, yani mtu anakukasirikia tu anasema bring back everything I've ever gotten you. Anyway, during their breakup, he apparently repossessed her car, and now she's seen around driving in it. And he says her car is a testament of the rigorous but fruitful efforts towards peace and restoration. Yeah, so there's that. Either they're being very amicable and being very friendly with each other and being very mature with each other, or they have actually gotten back together and they're keeping it low-key because, you don't want to just test the universe and see what happens. And also another reason I believe they've actually gotten back together is the simple fact that Sean Ara unfollowed Nairofey because she promised, if after all this crying and tears and the long nights and cursing and everything that we've gone through together, if you actually get back with this man, I will not be your friend again. So the simple fact that Sean unfollowed her leads me to believe that these two are back together.
I do not know. I feel like even if they're back together, it's through the efforts of the Yeforian, because clearly we can see that she's not following him on Instagram, but he's following her on Instagram. So I don't know if that's an indicator, then use it as an indicator. And this is as early as today afternoon. He's following her on Instagram, and she's not following him on Instagram, which could be like one of those situations where it's like a guy is still in pursuit of a woman, and therefore he will do anything. He will literally beg on his toes and knees in order for him to get any form of attention, which then is the same conversation we're having, because he's the one announcing that he gave her the car. It feels like it's a lot of an effort from him.
He gave her back the car.
Yeah, it feels like it's an effort from him to try and get her back, or to try and pique her interest. But these are just speculations. At the end of the day, to be entirely honest, what to a bedroom moja, it's just very difficult for you to understand where they're coming from, and ultimately even try and dissect when they got back together, if at all they've gotten back together. At the end of the day, the information will be there. It could be Sean Ara just forgot to follow her back. These things happen. She's a mother now, and she's fighting people in her man's DMs.
She unfollowed her. What do you mean forgot to follow her back?
Fighting women in the, well, not fighting. She's busy, running her account and her man's account on Instagram. So she has a lot more to look through than Nairofey's Instagram. These are just speculations.
Excuses.
What do we say? It is what it is. Do we care that much? I genuinely don't feel like I do, because again, it's just another Instagram couple that is going to get back together, maybe shove it down our throats and look lovely and be in love. I don't know. I think we have enough of that going on. They're not really breaking our backs, or it's a dime a dozen. Let's just say it that way. It's a dime a dozen these days. Now,